So this video presents a brief tour of the website that will be used as the main kind of delivery system for information, examples, practice, and video support for some of the course readings and also just to help keep you organized. So first of all, I want to say that I'm using this website instead of D2L to deliver some of this information because it is set up like a typical website as opposed to D2L, which is kind of a weird, clunky little shell thing that makes it very difficult as a teacher to organize things in a way that sort of conceptually and graphically and visually makes sense. So that's why I'm using this summer. Here I am on the home page, and this home page right now includes the week 1 announcement, or announcements, I should say. And it also, there will be a video. I put Pee-wee's Playhouse here as a placeholder, but when you see this video, you will have access to the course website with a video on this page that will be a nice welcome, and it won't take place in Pee-wee's Playhouse or a set that looks like it, and I'm kind of sad that it doesn't, because I think that would be kind of cool. Who knows? Maybe I'll try to stick this on the background with a green screen behind me. So this is the home page, and there will be 5 home pages this summer. There's this one, and there'll be one for week 2, one for week 3, one for week 4, and one. Well, you know what? There's only going to be 4 because the week 4 and 5 are smushed together, and there will only be one home page. So right now there's only one for week 1, and the other home pages every week will be placed underneath this home button. It will be a submenu. Okay, that's a lot of information just about the homepage, so let's move on. The syllabus tab includes a lot of the information that you would find in a typical syllabus. The first button is the website tour, and you're on that now, so I'm not going to click this button because the whole thing might, I don't know, start smoking or something, because you're actually on this tour. So, and that's how you got there, was from this page. So I'm going to skip that one, carefully. I'm going to go to the general info page, and here you can see I have a little bit of information about me, my contact hours, which is all available all the time for you. And I have a video conference room in Zoom that we can video conference with if you like, or you can call me. I have my number is up here. There is a hard copy of this syllabus information that you can download here. This is a PDF file. There's information here about the 2 course texts that you'll need for this class, and here they are. You can purchase these in the bookstore or go to Amazon and get them cheaper if you want, but you do need to get going quickly on them because the class has started, as evidenced by the fact that you're watching this video. You can, if you don't have this textbook, you can get it. You can get an electronic copy that's the cheapest option, and you can get that now, immediately. I'm not so sure about this book. I don't know if they have a Kindle version, but you're going to want to get that one quickly so that you can start the readings. There's information about the course overview, about the assignments and assessments. I'll tell you more about this later, but there's 4 exams in this class, and you get to drop the lowest score of those exams, and there are 4 projects, and you get to drop the lowest of the 4 or just skip one if it doesn't work out in your schedule. I completely understand about summer school and how a lot of people, even though they're enrolled in summer school, they're still going on vacations and that kind of thing. I totally get it. So there's quite a bit of flexibility in terms of assignments and the assessments, but just know that if you skip something, you're going to have to make sure that you take the next one and that. So 4 exams, 4 assignments. And I have a little bit more information about that here. I have my typical graduate grading scale. You can examine that later. And I do A- and B+. That's just, I've always done that. I have information here about the due dates and late work policy. This is such an abbreviated class. You're going to need to stay up on things throughout as we go. The very last time you can submit anything at all, and this is probably just going to be the last project if that's the one you decide not to drop, or that's one that you're not dropping, is going to be Friday, August 1st at 5 p.m. And I have a listing of some important dates here that you want to keep in mind. So because this is an online class, there's no attendance taken, and I'm not going to be having any synchronous Zoom class meetings either, unless we absolutely need one. Sometimes I'll do that to review for a course exam, but in the last 2 years, nobody has wanted that, so I haven't offered that. But I will do whatever it takes to help you learn as much as possible. And then we have some information about if you're a student with a disability, and even if you need an accommodation and you haven't filed the paperwork on that, you can talk to me individually about that. Usually, there are some people who do need more time in terms of reading for the exams. So, this is the information that's the general course information. I have a listing on a page of all of the course objectives, and all I want to say about this right now is that these course objectives, if it's in italicized text, that means that it'll be addressed in the course information, but it won't be there won't be any testing over that, practice or an exam item. So. And you can go through these and you can see which ones are going to be measured and which ones aren't. So, and there are quite a few objectives, I'm not going to lie. The course notes are organized by objective. So you'll see that when you download the course notes and study them. Okay, so there's all that. Then very important, I do have a calendar of all the due dates. This is included in the paper copy of the syllabus. But you might want to just make sure that you look at the calendar online, because right now, this is what it looks like right now, but there might be changes. If there are, I will email you. You'll be clear that they are, but here is where they will be, where they'll be posted. So I have the listing of assignments and then the what's due, and these are the due dates on Mondays. By midnight, due date by midnight. And you'll notice on the calendar that the exams are going to be open for you to take on Fridays, and they'll be done, they'll close Sunday midnight. Most exams take 30 minutes to an hour to complete. Projects are due on Tuesdays, except except for Project 4. I'll get to that at the bottom of this. So I'm doing this because if you have if you need, you can always turn your projects in early, but if you need extra time because you've been studying for the exam and you just didn't quite get around to some of the project, you do have a little extra time spilling into the next week. So I have all of the due dates there, and then you'll see that you do have the last week of class, week 5. There's no exam this week, but project number 4, if you're doing that, is due Friday by 5 p.m. And project 4 is a little bit bigger than the others in some ways, because it sort of applies stuff from the entire class. So you want to hopefully you'll all choose project 4. Also, you can choose to complete all the projects and just get the lowest score dropped, if that's how you want to do it. Okay, that's the calendar. I have a little bit of information about graduate student expectations in terms of reading and writing. You can read that here. Okay, and then I have some information about me, and I have this really fun Canva presentation that I use in my classes, in all my classes, and I do this in my technology class. And this has been somewhat updated. So if you want to learn more about me, just go through this presentation, and I talk a little bit about myself and about some of the causes that are really that I'm trying to be more involved in as I get older, and realize that there are a lot of people in our society that need our support. At least I think they need mine. So that's the syllabus. The weekly work option on the for the course website is going to have there'll be 4 menu options. The first one is week 1, and then next Monday there'll be week 2. Underneath this, week 3, and you'll see that. The way that the menu works is that if it's a sub menu, you hover over it and then you move over to the appropriate page. And so not all of the sub-menus have sub-menus, but some of them do. And it gets a little confusing, but you'll get used to it. So under the weekly work for week 1, I have an introduction. I have an introduction to the course, an introduction to part 1 of the class, the assignments, a big picture for the course, and then some information in practice. I'm going to go to that one because I do want you to know that the as I mentioned earlier, or as I will mention in a different video for the course introduction, the experts presenting you information about educational research are really not me. They are our text authors. However, I do elaborate on some of the important points in videos, and you'll see those throughout the class. And I throw in some other videos that relate to some of the stuff I'm talking about. And then there is a practice exam. And this practice exam, it's a PDF file. It is identical to the type of items and exam that you're going to be taking. You will see it measures all the outcomes that are going to be measured in this exam. So if I were you, I wouldn't. Well, I'm not going to tell you how to study. I mean, some people this might be the first thing you want to read, but I would do my readings and processing of the notes and that before I took the practice exam. So, and I have some information in week 1 that links to a page called How to Prepare for a Course Exam, and that's a resource. And I'll talk a little bit more about the resources in just a moment. So this is the weekly work here, and then I have all 4 projects listed. So each week you have a different project that is assigned. And the first project is kind of a collection of reflections. In fact, that's really what it is, along with some information that I'm asking for you. And everybody in this class has to do project 1. I know that I told you that you only have to do 3 out of 4, which is true, but one of them has to be this first one. So hope you're clear about that. This is where you can access all the projects, and they're all posted now, so you can see them now if you want to get a picture of what's expected of you. I have a link here to D2L, and just know that D2L will be used for only 2 things. It will be our grade book, so when you want to check on your progress, go to D2L. It will also be the place where you will submit your projects. So I will have project folders in there, or assignment folders as they call them, and that's where you're going to submit them. And that's all I use D2L for. So just know that, but you can access that right here. And finally, there's a list of resources. I have some information about the course text. I've got all the course notes right here. I have them for each part of the class, and I broke it up into 4 parts. And you can either download the Word version or the PDF, depending on if you want to add stuff in Word. There they are. But these are the notes that align with all of the objectives for the class. So you don't have to record notes for yourself unless that's part of the way that you process information. So got all the notes here. If I were you, I would create a notebook, 3-hole punch, or just keep them all electronic. You know, why waste paper? I do, but and I have all the practice exams are listed now if you wanted to see them all on the page. It's the same files that are on the individual pages. And then I have some information about some things that are part of some of the projects, information about learning theories, educational variables of interest, and I have some information about AI because you're going to be using AI at tools that you're going to learn more about in this class, And you're going to be using AI, not for Project One, but for all of the other projects related to research, because there are some very exciting tools, AI tools out there for educational research. And then I've got, again, just some more information that I will relate you, or I'll refer you to throughout the course. And then here's this information about how to prepare for a course exam. So those are the resources. And that is the course website. I encourage you to kind of poke around if you want. And do know that the website will be updated every single Monday after the exam, including a debrief of the exam from the previous week. I will put that right here on the homepage. Information about overall scores, and I'll analyze each item to determine whether they function the way they were supposed to, or whether there were issues with some of them for a number of students. And that will be on here. So, boy, this was a much longer website tour than I anticipated, but I hope that it helps you feel more comfortable with this most important educational resource for the class.